Now Romans 2, the second half, 17 to the end. The Jews and the Gentiles and the law, the Ten Commandments. How common as they go. Now you, if you call yourself a Jew, if you rely on the law, Ten Commandments, and brag about your relationship with God, if you know his will and approve of what is superior, because you are instructed by the law. If you are convinced that you are a guide of the blind and those who don't know the law, and the light of those in the darkness, the same thing, and an instructor of the foolish, the teacher of infants, same thing, because you have the law in embodiment of knowledge and truth. You have the Ten Commandments, you Jew. You then who teach others, do you teach yourself? You who preach, it goes about the Ten Commandments here, some of them. You who preach, the Jew, against the stealing, do you steal? You who say that people should not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhor and hate idols, do you go and steal them? In other words, you love them. You who brag about the law, do you dishonor God by breaking the law, you Jew? As it is written, Old Testament to the New, God's name is blasphemy. Well, God's name is not God's name is blasphemy the Gentiles. In other words, the Gentiles, they blaspheme you, Jew, because you're worse than them. 25, circumcision of the flesh has no value if you don't observe the Ten Commandments. But if you break the law, the Ten Commandments, you have become as though you had been uncircumcised of the flesh. If those who are not circumcised, the Gentiles, keep the law, the Ten Commandments, requirements, will they not be regarded as though that they were circumcised of the flesh, the symbol? Of course they will. The one who is not circumcised is the Gentile physically, and yet of the flesh obeys the law. The Ten Commandments will condemn you of the flesh, the you Jew, Israelite, even though you have the written code and circumcision of the flesh, and are because you are a lawbreaker. A man is not a Jew if he is one outwardly of the flesh, the circumcision of the penis, nor is circumcision merely outward and physical, what I just said. No, a man is a Jew, a spiritual Israelite, if he is one inwardly in the heart, and circumcision is of the heart by the Holy Spirit, the Spirit, not by the written code of the Old Testament. And the flesh means nothing if you don't keep the law. Such a man's praise is not from men, the good man, but from God. So in closing, what it means is, circumcision flesh, cutting off the foreskin means nothing if you don't keep the law. And the law is like filthy rags of the world. I mean, how people keep it in Isaiah. That's why you needed the newer testament, the better testament, the perfect sacrifice, Jesus Christ, okay? Now as the Old Testament, which the New Testament is written of the prophecies and the Ten Commandments, the law, it says, I'll write the commandments, will come a day. The Old Testament and the New, referring to the New, they're just here in their hearts. We don't need the tablets. We have them in their hearts, meaning we keep them much better with God's Holy Spirit, Christ living in us through the Holy Spirit. And God looks at us as as perfect human beings because of Christ's blood. Okay? So that's 2 Romans 17 to the end there, 29. Okay, bye.